There we go. Now we're going to add it to the stage, and now we're live. We're live, live, live. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Well, happy Saturday to you guys. Happy Saturday. I do. Sometimes I'm supposed to speak to Zach. Okay, guys. Thought I heard the sirens going off. So here's the dilly, yo. Here's the dilly. Of course, we have the threat of more tornadoes yet again. So anyway, we are having massive flooding in Louisville, Kentucky. It is pretty serious. Actually, it's everywhere in Kentucky. It's pretty rough. It is rough. So yeah, so certainly pray for everybody here in Kentucky and everybody in there's so much flooding. It's bad. It really is bad. So and in Louisville, it really is crazy. The Ohio River is just, yeah. So anyway, it's pretty crazy. It has not stopped raining since I think Tuesday, and it's been just nonstop. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. That's where I live. The ministry's the ministry's PO box is if you guys want to send anything to the ministry PO box, you can certainly do so. Sometimes I stop there to pick up the mail, but it's Louisville's crazy, but everywhere, not just in Louisville. All right, everybody, if you want to go to my website, it's very simple. Bishop James Long, I think so, Liberty. Bishop James Long, LONG.com. All right, Bishop James Long, LONG.com. Oh, you're being confirmed. Congratulations, Ratman. So if you guys want to go to my website, bishopjameslong.com. If you want to go to the church's website, if you want to know more about us, all you got to do is go to usocc.org. That's it, usocc.org. Thank you, Amy. Also, I want to remind everybody that tomorrow we are going to have Mass. So we have Mass at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That will only air on TikTok, only because it's just logistically, it's very difficult to try to air it here on all the other social media platforms. It's too complicated. So it's just much easier just to do it on one format instead of 7. So anyway, if you want to join us tomorrow for Mass, you have to be on TikTok. We put sub chat off anyway, and or we actually put chat off completely. And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm only going to turn the gifts off during Mass. I wanted to turn the gifts off completely on Sundays and Wednesdays for Bible study and night prayer. I can't, because if you do and you go live on TikTok and you do not have gifts as an option or available, you get shadow banned. And I have noticed that my account has been dramatically shadow banned, which basically means they don't put it on the FYP. So when you first sign into TikTok, if TikTok chooses which videos basically you see when you scroll, and it's kind of like a punishment. And I've been noticing that the numbers of the viewers on the videos are really oddly crazy, very low. And I contacted the agency that I'm with, and they said, yeah, you're shadow banned. So because I've turned the gifts off. So I'm still going to turn them off on Sunday Mass. I don't care. I don't want the gifts turned on during Mass. But we have to have them on. And if you want a gift, then gift. Go ahead. I appreciate that very much. Thank you very much. And there we go. Okay. So we appreciate that, guys. All right. Thank you. And by the way, if you hear me say thank you to my friends on TikTok, it's because they're offering gifts. And also, TikTok friends, if I don't thank you, I apologize. It's not because I'm being rude. It's because I run the show on 2 different computers. So here, I run the show for you guys on TikTok. And on this computer, I run the show on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Rumble, and our podcast. Thank you. And thank you. And sometimes I don't see the gifts. So thank you for the gifts. And our moderators also thank you. So thanks, guys. Now, usually around 9:15 a little over an hour from now, what we do is we close up shop on all the other social media platforms except for TikTok, and we stay on TikTok. This is the only night of the week where we bring you guys, thank you, we bring you guys up on the screen. So if you have a question for one of the moderators, you have a question for me, we just chat, and we bring, this is the only time of the week that we do this. So that'll be in about an hour from now. And so please consider joining us. I do want to keep the chat open for everyone. It's open mic night. Why not? Whatever. On GIFs on Facebook, I don't, quite honestly, I don't have the GIFs turned on Facebook because, and here's why. When you monetize on Facebook, the problem with this is every single time we do Bible study, every time, they always ding me for copyright violation. Every single time. Even though I have 3 licenses. 3, not just 1, 3 to play copyright music. So we're legally protected. But every single time, TikTok, Facebook always sends me a message. Oh, you have been, you're in violation. And I'm like, idiots, we are licensed to do this. I even posted on when I do the live, I show you the companies that we're licensed with, and they still do it no matter what. And it's just frustrating. I don't like dealing with Facebook, and I'm just not interested in monetizing on Facebook because it's more stress than what it's worth. And so therefore I've turned monetization completely off on Facebook and on YouTube because both of them do it. And I just, it's not worth the stress. It's just not. So I'm like, forget it. So anyway, that's why. Okay. So it's only on TikTok. And the good news is about TikTok is, yep, Donald Trump has extended the TikTok, the day. I think TikTok is going to be fine. I do. I think it's going to be fine. I don't think it's going anywhere. Thank you. And I believe TikTok is not going to be deleted. So I think I feel very, very confident in saying that. So anyway, there we go. Also, well, thank you. Well, that's pretty good. Thank you. TikTok. I've said it a million times. And even Facebook, because they're doing it on Facebook now. But these really bad people are stealing my picture, stealing my name. They're contacting you and telling you, please donate to an orphanage or whatever it is. I have said this a million times. I am not ever going to send you a message asking you for 1 penny. If I am homeless, sitting and living in a cardboard box, you will still never receive a message from me, ever, asking you for 1 penny. Never. So I've said this a million times, over and over, and then people send me nasty, hateful messages because they realize they were scammed. I don't own TikTok. Thank you. And I have penned videos on my profile. I have made videos multiple times about this. So if you're getting scammed because you're sending your money to these people, then you know what? I'm sorry, but that's on you because I can only do so much. All you have to do is look at the person's profile. Because see, what they're doing is they're typing Bishop.James Long, and then they picture, and then they send you a message. All you got to do is click the profile. It's simple. Do they have 775,000 followers? Yes or no? If the answer is no, then it's a scam. So why are you sending the money? So don't get angry with me if you got scammed, because I don't own TikTok. I have begged TikTok multiple times to be verified. I'm verified on X. I'm verified on Facebook. I'm verified on Instagram, but TikTok will not verify me. Why? I don't know. There are people that has 20,000 followers and they're verified. Go figure. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. So you're not going to get a message from me. I'm not going to send it to you. And you're not ever going to get a message from me asking you for a penny. Not going to happen. So anything else, guys? There's nothing else I can do for you. Yeah, it really is. It's frustrating for me. I think it's frustrating for everybody, but what are you going to do, everybody? What are you going to do? Okay. So, Miss Wilma is not in tonight. I don't think she'll be with us for a while. I think that's going to be a long while. So in the meantime, Look at this. Let's bring in our little chicken. Judy Ann's doing the chicken dance right now. True story. All right. Hello there, Miss Judy Ann. How are you doing?
Well, I'm fine on this Saturday night. How about yourself? I know you said the sirens were going off.
I thought I heard the sirens, but the phones haven't been going off. So once the phones go off and say there's tornado warning, but you know what? I'm at this point where I just don't care. It's like, okay, you know what? I'm done. So chances are I'll probably stay here and just.
No, you're not wearing those red and white striped stockings, are you? You know, like that witch did in Wizard of Oz. Remember when the house fell on her?
No, but I think I'm going to have to, because I feel like it is, the Kansas all over again. All these constant tornado threats. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, everybody. And we're having a major flooding issue in Kentucky. So, but yeah, hopefully not knock on wood, because that's not good. But anyway, hopefully we don't have any. And, but yeah, Miss Wilma, she had a procedure done today. She doesn't do well with procedures at all. And I just don't think Miss Wilma's going to be with us it's going to be a while. I think Miss Wilma's probably going to be off air for several months. So anyway, just keeping your thoughts and prayers, and that's how we roll. But we push on through. So what's been going on with you?
Well, I've been busy looking at some things for your assignment. I don't know if you want to share that or not.
Yeah, so I'm going to be going on assignment. Judy Ann is serving as the executive producer, as she did with the documentary that I did on the Gates of Hell Cemetery. And so I am now going to Los Angeles, California. And Judy Ann has asked me to, and I'm really stoked about this. There are a lot of locations that I'm going to check out. I'm going to do several documentaries. But one documentary that I'm going to do is, do you want me to tell them, or do you want to tell them?
I think you should tell them, but let me preface this by saying that I have always wanted to do this, but I'm terrified, so I'm sending him instead.
You really are. You really are scared of this stuff, aren't you?
It's not my cup of tea.
Have you ever had a paranormal? Have you ever been to a paranormal location? You have?
I have had it happen. I never believed in paranormal until it happened to me in that house. Yeah.
Wow. All right, everybody. So I am going to be going not only to LA and doing a lot of documentaries, but I'm going to the Queen Mary. And not only am I going to the Queen Mary, but I'm going to be staying there a couple of nights. And really excited about that, and doing a documentary on the Queen Mary. So I'll have a lot of filming, and really that's going to be pretty. I've never been. It's definitely a bucket list, no question. So I've been to LA a couple of times, but I've never been to the Queen Mary. So I will actually be staying the night at the Queen Mary. And you actually said that even at night you can kind of wander around, even late at night. Is that right?
Yes, you were allowed into the exhibits in areas that the general public is not allowed into because you're staying there. So he will be in a stateroom, kind of a stateroom suite for 2 nights, and we'll see what happens. I don't know if he's going to. I haven't asked you if you're going to bring your, what do you call it, EVP equipment?
Oh yeah, I think I'll have to look a little bit more about on the Queen Mary and some locations, but I think we'll probably do a few little investigation and kind of see what's there. So I think that's pretty exciting about that. So someone is asking. So yeah, I'm really stoked about that. And I don't, Helen, I don't understand your question. Father, are you getting paid for REUS? I don't understand. You'll have to explain. So that's going to be in October. That's going to be in October. So at the Queen Mary. And not only that, but I'm also going to the cemetery where a lot of celebrities are buried. So I'll be doing a documentary on that and some other locations. So, why'd you mute Helen? She was asking a question. She was asking a question.
Well, somebody is saying that she was being, I don't know, rude.
Oh no, she was asking. She was asking about.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll unmute her. So yeah, she was just asking about something about being paid. So yeah, so
she was.
Helen,
okay, Dana said she was saying something about your collar. I don't know if it wasn't very nice, but.
Oh, yeah.
Our regulars are pretty on top of things.
All right, so Helen, I've unmuted you, so you can go ahead and re-ask. But again, let me just make this very clear. Well, see, sometimes, guys, when people ask questions, sometimes they only give you a certain amount of space. You know what I mean? To do this, and that's kind of frustrating when you're trying to ask a question. You can only have a certain amount of time. That drives me crazy too. But so, Helen, you can ask the question again. But again, for TikTok, I'm going to make it very clear. If you're going to troll, you will be blocked. You're not going to get my attention at all. I will ignore you because here on this platform, we are adults. We don't behave like pestilent little children. So that's the way it's going to be. So, yeah, people get, Jack seems that even I got muted once.
Oh, yeah. She asked if you rented your suit.
Well, okay. And again, folks, I understand that question. Because there are people who are going online right now who are cosplaying. Remember, we talked about that they are pretending to be clergy and they're saying some terrible, stupid, blasphemous things. And so when people ask, are you a real clergy? Well, the reason is they're asking that is probably because they've seen these ridiculous people going on TikTok. Let me tell you something, guys. There's a person who's dressing up as a nun. And she says, confess your sins, and it's really vulgar. And then there is this guy who is dressing up as clergy, and it is, when I tell you it is vulgar, it is disgusting. It is really, really gross. And so that's why a lot of people are saying, are you a real clergy? Because of these idiots going online. And you're right, it is so sacrilegious, truly is. So that's what we got to deal with, and that's unfortunate. So, but no, this is not a rented suit. This is actually my clerics. So I'm actually clergy. Okay, let's talk. Do you have any articles that you want to talk about?
I did one. I was just wanted to follow up with the Queen Mary. You can go down into the bowels of the ship, and it looks spookier than all get out down there. Are you not going to be? What if you're by yourself? Are you going to be a little bit nervous about that?
No, why would I be nervous?
Well, okay. What about the swimming pool where the little girl? They always say there's a ghost there, a little girl.
Okay. I mean, I personally don't believe. I'm not a fan of believing in children ghosts. I'm just not. Thank you.
I don't either.
I think there, in every case that I've had children ghost. In every case, it was demonic. In every single one of them. So, but no, as far as being nervous, no, I won't be nervous at all. Actually, I'm really looking forward to debunking the activity and looking at it from a logical perspective and saying, okay, now that is something right there that I can't explain. That's kind of weird. Or debunked, one or the other. So no, I don't get. Yeah, because the reason is demonic, because I don't think God would allow a child ghost, if you will, to be lost. I just simply, I just simply don't buy it.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you. The one thing I want to point out to the followers here, all of our audience, I guess you could call them, is that the Queen Mary is actually quite a bit larger than was the Titanic. I did not know that until I looked into it. So. Here's the deal about ghosts, guys. And I've seen pictures of the Queen Mary. Really cool. Very, very cool. I don't believe that all ghosts are demons. I do not believe this. And I know there are people that do. And here's the deal. I've been very kind, and I talked about this the other day. I promoted several people's TikTok profiles. I'm the type of person I love, promoting, and hey, look, check this person out, check that person out. But I've kind of noticed that the very people that I'm kind of saying, hey, go check them out, are kind of doing these digging, these kind of a nasty attacks. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It's not cool with me because number one, they never promote my platform, but I'm always promoting theirs. So
Everybody has their own opinion on this, and that's fine. But I have not found, from my perspective, I have not found that everything is demonic. I don't agree to that. I just simply don't. And that's my right, not only as an investigator, as a person who's been in the paranormal field for, again, the 35 years was my first time I ever investigated a location. I don't accept the argument that everything is a demon. And I don't accept it because, quite honestly, Scripture says just the opposite. See, the people always use Scripture and say, no, the Bible says, I say, no, it does not. Actually, if you look on Matthew chapter 14, verse 26, Jesus walks on water. And they were terrified. When the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified. They said, it's a ghost. And also when Jesus in Luke chapter 24, verse 36, after Jesus was crucified, he appeared to the disciples on the third, when he rose from the dead. They said it was they were terrified because they thought they were seeing a ghost. And Jesus said, well, touch me and find yourself. Ghosts don't have flesh and bones as you see that I have. So as I've said this a million times, what does that mean? If ghosts did not exist, Jesus would have said, don't be silly. Ghosts don't exist. That's not what he said. He actually clarified what ghosts have. So I just disagree, fundamentally disagree, that all ghosts are demons. I don't agree with it. Just don't. Okay. Yes, I'm authentically Catholic. Yeah. And by the way, for those of you who are coming in on Facebook or anybody else, if you are going around telling people that they need to convert to Roman Catholicism, you're not a practicing Roman Catholic. Plain and simple. Because if you were, you wouldn't do that. The Pope Francis recently stated that actually he said, when you do that, that is considered a grave sin against ecumenism. So a reporter asked him, Holy Father, should we tell someone they need, if they're an Episcopalian or Lutheran or whatever, should we tell them they need to convert to the true church, the Roman Catholicism? His exact answer was no, no, no. That is a grave sin against ecumenism. So if you're Roman Catholic, I get proselytized, that's right. If you are Roman Catholic, then you must be practicing Roman Catholic and you must follow what the pontiff said. That's what the pontiff said. So you can go and say, I don't agree with it. That too bad. That he is the Pope. So if you're going around telling somebody that they need to convert to Roman Catholicism and you're violating, and he actually said you are in grave sin. So again, just keep that in mind. All right. What were you saying now? Judy-Ann?
What was that? What was I saying? I don't remember. There's so much flying through the feed.
Yeah.
But I thought I would repeat what I did last week because everybody seemed to really like it. I was going to ask Bishop some demonic type questions instead of the jokes. If everyone's on board with that.
Right. And again, that was the Dizzy, the point that I made that was that if you are, notice I said, if you are Roman Catholic, then you must follow the pontiff's teaching. That's why I clarified that. If you are not Roman Catholic, well, then that's a different story. So again, you can go to usocc.org, usocc.org, and there you go. You can find out all about us if you're really interested. If not, well, that's okay. Well, actually, Big Red, the sulfur talks in Revelation talks about the lake of sulfur, the lake of sulfur. Okay, so what's your question there, Judy-Ann?
Well, when demons manifest, do they ever manifest in physical form? Or was that ability removed from them when they were cast out of heaven? We saw the physical form in Poltergeist. Remember that monstrous creature that came out of the closet after the little girl? But you never speak of physical forms. So I wondered if you could talk about that.
I'm curious, where did the question come from? Why, are you concerned about something?
I'm not. No, I'm not. I just wondered.
Okay. Well, they're spiritual beings. And this is why Jesus made it very, very clear that angels neither procreate or marry. And this is why, by the way, the idea that the Nephilim are offspring of demons and women is incorrect. theologically is 100% incorrect. And so anyway, all right. So bear with me for a second. Because you people who are adults can't behave as respectful human beings, sub chat is now on. Goodbye, trolls. This is what they do.
Thank you.
They do this all the time.
Well, it's too much interruption.
Trolls, let me make this clear. You're going to be judged in the same manner that you judge others. That's scripture, Matthew chapter 7, verse 2. You are constantly judging people. You are constantly spreading hate. You are constantly trying to break people's will. Do you understand that's also what demons do? Demons constantly try to break someone's intellect and will. They find satisfaction in that. That is demonic activity. You are participating in demonic activity by trolling. And you think it's funny today. I guarantee you, you will cry tomorrow when you see God face to face, and he will judge you in the same manner that you're typing. It's hurting my ears. You will be judged in the same manner that you have judged others. So you need to be aware of that. Sorry, I got this speaker right by my ear. Okay.
I apologize. I forgot to hit my mute button.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about Genesis 18. Angels visit Abraham, appearing as men. They even eat a meal with him. And then even two angels go to Sodom and interact with the Lot and his family. Joshua chapter 5, verses 13 and 15. An angel identified as the commander of the Lord's army appears to Joshua as a man with a drawn sword. Judges chapter 6, verses 11 through 16. The angel of the Lord appeared to Gideon, initially being perceived as a man. And even in Luke chapter 1, the angel Gabriel appears to Mary. So the passage in scripture appears to suggest that when angels appear to people, they can take on a physical form that is visible and tangible. However, their spiritual nature suggests that their default existence is not constrained by like physical form as humans understand it, especially in the heavenly realm. Now, Lucifer, for example, was considered a beautiful angel. Now, the term beautiful is very subjective. How would you define a cherubim in heaven? Well, we know that the cherubims had 4 heads. And when you actually look at it from how they're described in scripture, they don't look like very beautiful creatures, beings, certainly to us. However, it's very subjective, meaning that they're in heaven. Perhaps maybe they're radiating the light because they're in the presence. But Lucifer's figure became disfigured by the sin, by his hatred towards humanity, by his hatred towards God. It's interesting because Annalise Michel, she was the exorcism Emily Rose, she described these apparitions as ghastly figures. It's also interesting that when people have like incubus and succubus situations, many times the vision or the visual that they will have of this entity is quite beautiful. And then when they want it to stop, when it's becoming so intrusive, then the true nature is actually shown, and it's quite hideous. It's also known as the old hag syndrome. So it is interesting that, but their very true nature, it is so distorted because of sin and hatred that Lucifer's, I think, once radiant beauty has been distorted by his embracing of the 7 deadly sins.
Wow. Well, thank you for that answer. Can I ask you something else?
Mm-hmm.
Why do they go for the dark places? Do they tend always to congregate in dark, abandoned places?
No. As a matter of fact, I don't think so at all, because even I think the demons will go to any location that they possibly can to try to remove you from the grace of God. And we see this. We certainly see this in all the terrible, the scandal of the clergy and what the clergy did, and to the innocent. And they weren't, the demons weren't in old abandoned buildings at this time. They were very much close to the clergy member who decided to participate in true demonic activity.
I always think about how there's paranormal activity or haunting, as you would call it, in an old abandoned prison or a basement or an old warehouse.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where my mind always goes, is that's where you're going to find them. But obviously, the people that you help are not living in those places. And also, are they always in numbers, or do you encounter them as an individual ever? And do they have a gang mentality? Or are they solitary?
No, I don't think they're solitary at all. I don't think. As a matter of fact, Annalise McKell said that she was possessed by 7 demons, and so. But no, many times when you have transient possession, a person can be possessed by multiple demonic entities. So the demon will enter the body and leave at will. And so there was one case that I did. It was a complete and total personality change. So like there was multiple demons that had possessed this gentleman. And when there was a transient possession, when one demon left and another entered the body, a complete and total change. So one demonic was almost like a laughter. He liked to laugh, to mock, make fun of. Another demonic, the personality was very, very quite evil and detrimental, even to the point where one time there's an EVP, well, not an EVP. We have a recording where the demon says, "I seen you." And then there was a transient possession. The demon will leave and another demon will enter. And again, another complete and total personality change. So it's a one goes like for a mockery. It's like a laughter, a deep guttural laugh. And then the other will be a growl. So yeah, that with transient possession, that occurs quite often.
So they do kind of tag team then.
Sure.
Oh my word.
Yeah, Elizabeth, the demons lead the clergy to do terrible things. Yeah, that's actually called demonic or ordinary demonic activity. So you have extraordinary demonic activity and ordinary demonic activity. And extraordinary demonic activity is when you leave into possession. That's when you get into infestation, oppression, obsession, possession. But ordinary demonic activity is like trolling. Trolling is a form of demonic activity. There is no other way to put that. Plain and simple. It is evil.
I agree.
It is evil.
When I was talking about the dark places, a lot of people have a dark heart.
They do, and they think, well, there's nothing wrong with trolling. There certainly is, because let me explain. When you have demons under extraordinary demonic activity, a demon will attack your intellect and will. So it begins to interact with you, telling you that you're dumb, you're stupid, no one's going to love you. I mean, it's very aggressive. It's the point of it is to break your will. And then it goes into breaking the intellect. So it makes you think you're going crazy. So it is a barrage of attacks against the person. So when you troll, when people are trolling, you are participating in demonic activity. And this is as serious as, and I truly believe with all my heart, you can absolutely lose your salvation by trolling. Because the whole point of trolling is to try to break someone's will, to try to use your words to break them down. That is pure sadistic. That is evil. There's no other way to put it.
I love that you stated it like that, because they try to break the will of people. And then we have trolls that do the same thing.
Sure. Absolutely. 100%. And I think people have got to be careful about that, because a lot of times they thought, well, it's just, it's no big deal. It's blah, blah, blah. It's all fun. It's not. When you're trying to use your words to break another person's spirit, it is evil. And there is no other way. You can't put a Band-Aid on it. You can't use excuses, because you know what you're doing. It is the ordinary demonic activity. And so that honestly, what concerns me more than possession is the fact that people are so casually going online and saying some of the most horrible, vulgar things to people to try to break that person's will down, and then they can lay their head on the pillow at night and not give it a second thought. That is demonically influenced. No ifs, ands, or buts
Oh.
about it.
Someone had a question and Jax tried to answer it, and I think he did properly. Demons are not in hell. They're free right now. They're roaming. They're able to do whatever they want.
That is correct.
They haven't been. Okay. Do you believe, or do the number of angels, is that infinite or was it finite?
We simply don't know.
Okay. Of course, when they said a third of the angels, maybe there had to be a finite number, but it makes you wonder how many angels there were, because there's so much evil in the world. There's got to be a significant number.
Oh, no question. No doubt about that at all. We just simply don't know. We don't know. I mean, is there 1 billion, 2 billion, 5 billion? We don't know. We have no answer for that. We just know that there are obviously a substantial amount. And there's a lot of people participating in this type of demonic activity. And somebody's asking, yes, I'm fully aware that Saturdays are normally fun and ha ha ho ho he he. But, look, here's the deal. We are changing the platform, and that's just the way it is. So, that just, Miss Wilma is sick and she's not going to be with us for a while. And so, or who knows? I don't know if she's going to be with us again. We don't know. We just simply don't know. So it's not always about ha ha ho ho he he and jokes and all that other stuff. This is an opportunity to have a conversation about something that's really serious, which I think this is. So I appreciate you wanting us to tell jokes and all that other stuff, but it's sometimes we're not really interested.
When I canvassed everyone last time, it was overwhelmingly yes, let's do the questions. They like to hear the questions. They love the responses that Bishop gives. So it's kind of majority rule there. But that's all I have for questions this week. If you want to go to your stories.
Okay, yeah. And by the way, now moderators, do me a favor, so that we can have something. Like we had talked about that the other day or a couple of weeks ago. If you find paranormal or articles that you find online, and that way everybody can participate, because I want everybody to, especially all the moderators, to feel like, that we bring the moderators on, so that you can feel like you have something instead of, we want everybody to be a part of it. And so just if you find something, even if it's an article, and it doesn't have to be paranormal related. Our moderators are very diverse, which I really love about this, is we have, people that, like, for example, Judy Ann. Judy Ann is not so much a paranormal person. She gets scared about that stuff, but she's brilliant when it comes to horses. So
thank you.
Well, I think you are. I mean, I don't think that's an incorrect statement.
Well, the good Lord put a couple of marbles in my head, and I try to use them.
There we go. There we go. Well, here's a couple of articles that I saw that I thought, well, this is pretty interesting. I don't know about what you guys think about this one. I don't know. I kind of disagree. This is by Ben Hooper. A Nevada man says 7 seized tigers were emotional support animals. Authorities in Nevada seized 7 tigers from a property, and the owner of the big cats claimed that they were his emotional support animals. So the sheriff's office worked together with the County Code Enforcement and Animal Service to they had a search warrant Wednesday recently, and of Carl Mitchell. He's the owner of Big Cats Entertainment. It says Mr. Mitchell was being evicted from the property, and the owner of the property was not being allowed onto the property to inspect. Sheriff Joe McGill told the news, he says, we have known for several years that he has big cats on his property, and for the last 2 years, this has been in violation because he has no permits for those cats. So McGill and Mitchell said was initially cooperative, but ended up being arrested for resisting after physically struggling with the deputy. It says, quote, our intention was to seize the cats, number 1, for public safety, number 2, for the safety of the cats. And then he struggled with the deputy. So Mitchell, who was released on bond Wednesday evening, said the tigers are his emotional support animals. Quote, the animals did not deserve to be snatched up, knocked out with medication, shipped across the country where they were happy and content, where they had lived for more than 10 years. He said, I am 100% disabled veteran, PTSD. The VA and my doctors have approved the tigers to work as support animals. And Mitchell said 6 of his tigers were rescued from Joe Exotic, the jailed former big cat owner from Netflix, the Tiger King documentary series. What do you think about this, Judy-Ann?
I do not like the thought of caging up or penning up these big cats.
Yeah.
I do not at all. It's wrong on so many levels. Now, I do agree with good zoos. I'm talking about zoos that have a nice habitat, because zoos, sadly, the benefit to this was that they preserved a lot of the genetics. And, look at was it the white rhino or the black rhino? I don't know which one that is considered extinct. If they have not managed these in a closed area, we wouldn't have them anymore. But I just think it's so sad to see these animals in a circus. That's so antiquated.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. I mean, these are wild creatures. These are wild animals. And I know some people say, "Oh, Bishop Long, you're being mean." I don't know. I don't think I am. I mean, these are scary. I mean, these are dangerous animals. I think they are.
Well, they are. They're very dangerous. They can get loose.
Right. And then what are you going to do?
Well, chimpanzees have gotten loose, and they have, I think, there's been a couple people who've had their entire faces ripped off.
That's exactly right.
So you have an enormous responsibility, and the average person, I don't care how cool you think you are or how capable, you can't control that wild animal. They are not hardwired like a dog or a cat or a horse. They just aren't.
Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of that. I know some people are like, "Oh, that's not very nice." I mean, these are. I get it that people love animals. I love animals, but
I do too.
But for number one, he doesn't have the permit, so I think that's problematic in of itself. I mean, look, if you're going to have these animals, then you need to follow the law, and he doesn't,
Absolutely.
and he didn't, and I don't think that's appropriate. So,
there's some laws are questionable, as we all know.
Yeah.
But there are some that are in place for very good reasons, and that's one of them.
That's right. And when you don't have the proper, I think the proper laws, covered, well, then that's a problem. You can't have tigers. You're not talking about schnauzers.
Exactly, or house cats.
Right. You're talking about animals that can be very, very dangerous. Right. Look at it, Siegfried and Roy. So I don't know. I don't know. For those of you on TikTok, remember, we're going to open it up a little bit later on, probably around 9:15 or so. And then we will go from there and bring some people up on screen. By the way, don't forget, everybody, we're not leaving yet, but don't forget that tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, we have Mass. And Mass will only be on TikTok at 6. But for everybody else, we will have our Bible study tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that is for everybody. That's for everybody.
Please join us. Can I add something to that about the cats? I lived in Texas for a while with my friend who's a veterinarian, and I used to rehab bobcats. Now, they're a lot smaller than a tiger, but I have scars on me that you wouldn't believe. We kept 3 adults in the house with us, and there were only certain times of the day that you could look at them. They'd come at you. Yeah, very temperamental. They are never domestic. And if a bobcat has left scars on me, you can imagine what a tiger.
Right. Especially they have the claws. Oh, yeah.
Jax is asking what part of Texas. I was near Lubbock. Sweetwater, to be exact.
A lot of people have been asking me about the Ghost Adventures star. His wife appears in court for an alleged unalive plot. Pretty terrible situation. The wife of a paranormal reality series cast member charged with plotting his unaliving was in court this week. The wife of Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin was arrested earlier this month on suspicion of solicitation to commit to unalive him after police uncovered that she had been involved in a unalive. It's so stupid that I have to say this, but you have to, because if you don't, then TikTok bans you for hire. Anyway, with, by the way, her husband as the intended target. So Victoria Goodwin was arrested March the 6th in Nevada, where the couple resides, and publicly available inmate records show. So she is being held on a $100,000 bail. I'm surprised they even gave her bail after an initial court hearing that took place Tuesday. So according to a copy of the police report obtained by CNN, investigators determined that Victoria Goodwin willfully, unlawfully plotted to unalive her husband with an inmate in Florida who she had been communicating with, and that $11,000 had been set aside for when the job was finished. CNN has reached out to representatives of both Victoria and Aaron Goodwin. Police uncovered text messages between Victoria Goodwin and the inmate that allegedly indicated that she was conspiring and soliciting to unalive Aaron through a third party who the inmate was corresponding with. Their communication included plans for Victoria Goodwin to make an initial payment in the amount of $2,500. She was in love with the inmate, and according to the police report, and felt her husband, quote, would not accept divorce. Now, excerpts of text messages included the report show Goodwin allegedly giving the inmate information about her husband's whereabouts in connection with the plot and questioning if she was a bad person because she, quote, choose to end his existence instead of divorcing him. And following her arrest, Goodwin told police that she initially began writing to the inmate after she became aware of him from a true crime documentary. According to the police report, they eventually began communicating via text. So Goodwin denied wanting her husband to be unalived, and according to the report, and described herself as a daydreaming of being in a different situation, but she no longer felt that way. She also told police that she began talking to the inmate at a point in a time when she and her husband were, quote, were going through problems in their marriage. So in court Tuesday, Victoria Goodwin claims she doesn't remember sending the messages. And the next step in the case is a status check, which is set for April the 18th. Anyway, and Aaron Goodwin filed for divorce after his wife was arrested. Aaron Goodwin is an actor and host, best known for starring alongside Zach on the Discovery Ghost Adventures. Aaron and Victoria Goodwin have been married since 2022. Truly insane.
So you have problems, and that's justification for $2,500. That's all someone's life is worth.
Well, that's for the down payment.
Oh,
and I believe
okay.
I think he was going to be paid $11,000 to do this, and $2,500 down payment. This is just unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I don't understand why she would have $100,000 bail. That doesn't make sense to me at all.
No, she was going to have her husband eliminated.
Right. I mean, and
are you kidding me?
That's that is nuts. That is nuts.
He's always so fun. He's kind of the goofy one. I like the way he's so dramatic when he goes and investigates.
Yeah.
Always like that guy.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Well, I tell you what, if you want to, I'm going to do a few more articles here, and then we will drop off here, and then we'll bring you right back on TikTok in about 15, 20 minutes.
We shall reconvene. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, hop off.
Excellent. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. That's our Judy Ann. And she'll be with us again with the moderators in about 9:15 or so. I want to talk about this. And again, for those of you in TikTok, we'll bring everybody up around 9. Well, not everybody, but we'll bring the moderators up. And then we will, if you guys have questions, the moderators have some pretty cool articles. Listen to this. This is an interesting article. I'm kind of not a big fan of these type of movies because most of them are really stupid. I don't see who the author is of this. So Al Pacino is starring in The Ritual. It is a chilling new exorcism film based on a true case. What about the teddy bear balloon? What do you mean? Okay, listen to this. This is kind of crazy. So hang tight with me for a second. A teaser trailer has been released for The Ritual. It's a new suspenseful horror film due in cinemas on June the 6th. The film dramatizes what is often described as the most thoroughly documented exorcism in American history, the 1928 case of Emma Schmidt. Oh, yeah, I saw that, Marty. Directed by David Minnell and starring Al Pacino, Dan Stevens, Ashley Greene, The Ritual is based on real events that unfolded in a quiet rural town in Iowa. Now, while exorcisms have long been a staple of horror cinema, this particular story has a basis in documented historical accounts, including medical reports, witness testimonies, and personal diaries. Now, set in the town of Earling, Iowa, the film centers on Father Joseph Siger, a local priest who, until that point, had led a relatively uneventful life. That changed in the autumn of 1928 when he was asked to help 46-year-old Emma Schmidt, a woman reported plagued by several blackouts, an aversion to religious symbols, and other unexplained symptoms. And after years of failed psychiatric treatment, her case was referred to the church. With some reluctance, the priest agreed to host the exorcism in a secluded convent in his parish. The task of performing the ritual was handed to the father, a Capuchin whose past experiences with exorcism had earned him a formidable reputation. And according to reports from the time, including accounts from those present, what followed was an intense, deeply disturbing period that tested the faith and sanity of everyone involved. Now, eyewitnesses claimed that Emma's behavior defied natural explanations. Reports included claims of unearthly voices, apparent knowledge of unknown languages, and even physical feats such as levitation. Over the course of several weeks, the exorcism unfolded behind closed doors. The film builds on these real accounts, tracing the psychological and spiritual toll on the priest as well as Emma herself. So anyway, that's going to be coming out. I have not seen it. Matter of fact, let's do it right now. I've never seen this before, and we'll watch it, and I'll give you an idea of what I think about it. So the ritual trailer. All right. There it is. Al Pacino. We'll see. We'll see how this is. Okay, we've got stupid commercials, of course. All right.
We are the Lord's army in this battle. Emma is not well. I need a team of 30. Father Steiger will be taking notes as with Sister Strange. The devil will do whatever it takes to foil our plans. We must be resolute. Hold back the darkness.
I'm not a fan of his accent. Yep. I mean, so far, the things that I see has happened. So, and that's it. Anyway, so it's going to be coming out in June. The contortion of the body happens, the screeching, the multiple pitches, the eyes going black, some forms of levitation. Some people have seen full levitation. So we'll see. I don't know. It's a new movie that I just talked about. It's Al Pacino stars in The Ritual. It is coming out. I just talked about it. It's just coming out in June. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. Most of the time, these movies are so bad that I get frustrated with it because I just kind of roll my eyes and say, "Oh, come on, good grief," because they're just so terrible. Anyway, it's interesting. The Hell House situation. I have not. I know that there was a documentary on it or something of this nature. I have not seen it. So I don't know. There was a couple things I'm concerned about. I think the age of the children is problematic for me. But I'll have to look at it, and actually most of the time I don't watch these movies because they're just so stupid. And just like The Pope's Exorcist, it was such a bad movie. I walked out. I said, I can't do this anymore. This is the worst movie. It's so bad because it just got dumb. It just got really, it was very good as talking about oppression, what it felt like, infestation, that they did a great job with that. And then somewhere in the middle, they just lost it. It's like they thought they had to go extreme. And it was a shame. It was a shame. Yeah, the two popes are very good. Okay, by the way, for those of you who like Tom Cruise, well, this is interesting. TK Randall writes this. The iconic action star is planning to record a movie in space while doing all the stunts himself. I don't know if that's such a great idea there, Tom. Anyway, there's no denying that Tom Cruise has been going from strength to strength in recent years, having not only starred in several blockbuster movies, but also having famously performed most of his own stunts, many of which involve death-defying parachute jumps and other similarly dangerous acts. Well, but there is one thing that Cruise has been wanting to do for years. It's something that, to date, no other actor has come anywhere close to accomplishing. Filming a movie in space. So according to reports, this drive to venture into the final frontier is based on the actor's real-life obsession with extraterrestrial life, a subject that he's touched upon in some of his previous movie roles. He's fascinated with UFOs. An insider source was quoted as saying, he spends hours reading about them and studying all the many classified documents that have been released about them in the last few years. Quote, he has all sorts of high-powered telescopes and thinks people that doubt the existence of life on other planets are the delusional ones who are just kind of uneducated. I kind of agree with him on this. Not that Tom Cruise is ever going to watch this presentation, but I'm definitely in agreement. As things stand, it is understood that his upcoming space movie will be filmed through a collaboration between Universal Pictures and SpaceX, and that it will be directed by Doug Liman. And while the plot is currently unknown, it is likely to have something to do with aliens, and Cruise is expected to perform all his own stunts in Earth's orbit. If such a movie actually goes ahead, it will not only be the first of its kind, but also likely cement Tom Cruise in the history books as one of the greatest action movie stars of all time. Here's the problem that I have with this. Number one, when you're dealing with space, when you're on Earth and you're, jumping off a cliff, you have a parachute. And while there's danger to that, being in space is a completely different monster altogether. It is an incredibly, and I mean incredibly, controlled environment. And it has to be, because there is so much danger that goes along with even space flight. Or if when you go out inside your shuttle or whatever it is, you better be careful, because that is something that there can be some serious consequences for that. So and quite honestly, it's so restricted too. I mean, the space suits that we have are very bulky and restrictive. So I'm not really sure how they would be able to have him do these stunts in space, because space is something you can't tame. The only thing you can do is try to limit the dangers as much as possible. It's a different ball of wax. So I don't know. And quite honestly, I can't imagine how much that would cost. The cost factor alone would be astronomical. So we'll see. But I think I'm definitely in alignment with him as far as UFOs. I think he's 100% right. I don't believe we're the only ones here. So yes, I heard about that, Mark. Yeah, the priest that in the rectory. Yeah, I can't say the word because I get banned on TikTok. So anyway, I don't know. This is an interesting article too that I wanted to talk about. Speaking of outer space, well, thank you there, Debbie. Listen to this story and see if you guys think that this is legit, or what do you think? It says our fear of the threats from outer space may be driving conspiracy theories. Well, We know there's plenty of conspiracy theories out there. Anyway, from invasion by hostile aliens to apocalyptic asteroid strikes, are we right to fear the final frontier? There are many homegrown problems on Earth, but there's still time to worry about bad things arriving from above. The most recent is the asteroid 2024 YR4, which could be a city killer if it hits a heavily populated area, which it won't. The chances of that happening now are estimated to be around 0.001%. But of course, people immediately went on social media, oh my gosh, it's going to happen. It's like, oh, good grief. Anyway, there's a need to worry about the planetary defense if we're able to avoid going the way of dinosaurs. But there are many other things that could unalive us, including climate change and wars, the article says. So what is it about space that grabs our attention? Well, in the long run, something big will hit us unless we can redirect it. And the responsibility for preparation begins with us. Here's the deal with all this. So it talks about fear of space and why we have such a fear of spaces and alien viruses and things of this nature. Now, while I agree that asteroids are a concern, we do have the ability to pretty much to monitor the asteroids that are life dangerous. But when you're dealing with an asteroid, that is completely different than dealing with a species, an interplanetary species that has the technology to reach our solar system. Now, with all due respect, if we look up in the sky and we see Mothership and all these other ships that are clearly alien species, we need to understand a couple of things. First, we are the underdogs because the technology that they have is so advanced, would be so far advanced compared to ours that there is no comparison. There's just simply no comparison. So the only thing that we could hope for is that if that ever happened, that they were not here for nefarious reasons. If they were, there's really not a whole lot we can do because the technology that they have would be so far advanced than our technology. But there's a lot of debates. Well, I think there's a lot of debate as to whether or not alien life exists. I believe I'm on the belief that there is. Some people don't, and that's fine, but I disagree. Did you know, this is an interesting story as well. Did you know the CIA once spent years covertly searching for Noah's Ark? Thank you. Did you know that? Listen, let me say that again. The CIA once spent years covertly searching for Noah's Ark. TK Renner writes this: a declassified 4-page CIA document contains details on the agency efforts to find the biblical vessel. That's kind of it. Well, I mean, if you think about why, look, it's great that they did it, I guess. But my main question will be why. So the story of Noah and the Great Flood needs no introduction, but the final whereabouts of the ark itself, if it even exists at all, according to the article, continues to remain a topic of heated debate. Now, according to declassified files, a high-ranking member of the U.S. government once had a keen and somewhat inexplicable interest in locating the biblical vessel and tasked the CIA with tracking it down. Well, one of the 4-page document entitled Report Regarding Noah's Ark notes how the CIA had actively investigated the infamous site that it's in Turkey, which for years had been rumored to be the petrified remains of the Ark itself. The DCI William Colby, who headed the CIA from 1973 to 76, received orders to investigate the site from Lieutenant Colonel Walter Brown of the U.S. Air Force, who was himself on a mission to determine, quote, whether any evidence of the Ark could be found. spy satellites, and even a U-2 spy plane, thank you, were used to probe the site for clues. Look, some people say, well, that's great. My question would be, why are we spending so many resources? I mean, it wasn't cheap to do this investigation. So why are we using these? Anyways, it was later reported that the photographs had yielded negative results. It says things didn't end there, however, as over the next 8 years, there were multiple additional requests for information about the search for Noah's Ark from members of Congress, DCI intelligence community staff, and even a former astronaut. On each occasion, the CIA had responded by stating that no evidence of the vessel had been found. Exactly why so many government officials were interested in finding Noah's Ark, however, remains unclear. So I don't know. Doesn't that seem a little strange to you? I mean, with all the things that we have, especially in 1973, 1976, that was kind of a tumultuous time. And so now we are dedicating, I mean, expensive resources to finding Noah's Ark. I don't know. See, that to me is, yeah. Donna says, do they know something that we don't know? And Monsar says, do they know something about it that we don't? Yeah, but it's true. It's like, why would you, I don't know. I don't understand that. I mean, look, I think it's great. I mean, if they found Noah's Ark, okay, yay, that's wonderful. But to me, it's kind of like, well, what's the point of dedicating so many resources to it? And I don't know. No, it was not found. They said that was negative. It came out negative. But anyway, I don't understand that. I'm kind of confused about why you would why they would do this. I don't know. Weird. I just find it kind of strange that the government would do this. But that's my personal opinion. Some people may think it's great. I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. Okay, I'm going to put over some articles here. Oh, this is a very good article. We're going to talk about these articles now. So we're going to get rid of this. Make sure, everybody. So I'm going to be closing shop here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Rumble. I'm going to be, and then of course on our podcast, we're going to close out you guys, and hopefully you have a wonderful night. So yeah, we're going to close out the shop for all the guys except for TikTok, because we're going to bring the moderators up here because it's now getting close to that hour, that time. So again, folks, I want to remind everybody that for those of you on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and Rumble, please consider joining us. So we're going to be bringing the moderators up here, and the moderators, hopefully you guys have some articles we can talk about. That would be very good. And let me just let me do this now. I'm going to upload it. And that way you guys can have this on podcast as well. Okay. So it's uploading now. Okay, guys. So we're going to go over here. Don't forget, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we have Mass on TikTok only. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern, we have Bible study for everybody. It's going to be on all the social media platforms. So for those of you on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and Rumble, remember I tell you all the time, your value does not decrease based on someone's inability or refusal to see your worth. You're priceless, and don't let a troll tell you or convince you otherwise. So hopefully we'll see you guys over at TikTok here soon. All right, good night.